Mito is sorting fish when other people start talking about Gon, her 12-year-old nephew. Gon is trying to catch the monstrous master of the swamp, a feat done 20 years ago by Mito's cousin and Gon's father, Jing. It is a seemingly impossible condition set by Mito, for she is reluctant to allow Gon to take the hunter exam. Gon catches the fish and brings it to the harbor to the amazement of the townspeople and to the dismay of Mito. The night before Gon sets out, Mito tries to convince Gon not to pursue the exam and become like his father. Gon replies by saying he wants to know why his father prefers to be a hunter so much that he left his own son in other people's care. The next morning, Mito and her grandmother bid Gon goodbye. After he shouts that he will be the best hunter, Gon is mocked by the ship passengers who are also going to the hunter exam site. He observes the applicants on board. Then he notices and helps Katsu, a crew member, being bullied by his mates. Gon then tells the captain that a storm is coming. When the captain asks how he knows, he says that the seabirds flying above them are warning each other of a huge storm. Gon confirms it by using his sense of smell. The captain is suddenly reminded of someone. While the storm rages, nearly every exam applicant on the ship is seasick except for Gon, Kurapika, and Leorio. The captain summons them and asks for their reasons for taking the hunter exam. Gon quickly answers that he wants to know why his father chose to be a hunter. Leorio and Kurapika refuse to reveal theirs. The captain promptly tells them that he is hired to trim down the number of hunter exam participants before they reach the exam site, thus he can pass or fail them depending on their response. Kurapika reveals that he wants to be a blacklist hunter to catch the phantom troop who annihilated his clan, the Kurta. Leorio wonders why Kurapika has to take the exam merely for revenge, to which Kurapika replies that a licensed hunter has unprecedented access to information and places, as well as the freedom to actions that are otherwise forbidden. Leorio then states that he wants money and the comfort and luxury it brings, like huge fortune and free use of public amenities. Kurapika comments upon his statement, and Leorio is ticked by Kurapika not properly addressing him, as Leorio-san several times already. He insults Kurapika's clan as disrespectful. This sparks animosity between the two, and they go out to the deck to duel. Meanwhile, the crew members try to stabilize the ship when Katsu is tossed and is about to fall from the ship, to which Leorio and Kurapika witness in horror. Suddenly, Gon jumps out of the ship to catch Katsu, and the other two promptly catch Gon's legs. The captain is impressed with them, and he promises to bring them to the port nearest to the exam site. Upon reaching Dal Harbor, the captain tells Gon that going to the cedar tree at the top of the hill behind the city will lead them to the exam site. Gon relays the information to Kurapika and Leorio, and they consult the map. They learn that the cedar tree is the opposite direction of Zabin City, the hunter exam site. Leorio says that there is a bus that directly goes to the city. Gon chooses to go towards the direction of the tree. Leorio bids goodbye as well and walks towards the bus stop when he overhears two senior applicants talking about the bus ride as merely a trap for new applicants. Leorio joins the other two, and they reach a small deserted town. Leorio comments that there is nobody around there, but Gon plainly states that there are plenty of them. A group of masked people appear and block the way with a stage where an old woman sits. She tells them that they have to undergo the quiz in order to reach the cedar tree. She posts a riddle requiring them to choose between two possible answers and giving the answer within 5 seconds. The three are taken aback by the question, for it is something that has no correct answer. Unfortunately, refusing to partake in the quiz will disqualify them from taking the exam. A scheming participant who overheard the conversation between the captain and Gon has followed the three and goes ahead to answer. The masked people let him by as he continues up the road. The old woman then poses a similar question to the three, angering Leorio even more. When the time is up and no one has given an answer, Leorio angrily grabs a wooden stick to hit the woman, but is stopped by Kurapika. Kurapika tells Leorio to calm down, for he will waste the correct answer, which is silence. A door to a tunnel opens, and they are instructed to meet the navigators living in a house by the cedar tree. Upon reaching the cedar tree, they find the navigators, a couple, being attacked by a shape-shifting creature, the Kuriko. While Leorio tends to the wounded man, Gon and Kurapika go after the Kuriko who kidnaps the woman. They are able to keep up with the Kuriko, and Gon hits it with his fishing rod. The Kuriko drops the woman and is saved by Kurapika, but he notices a tattoo on her arm, and he becomes wary of her real identity. Leorio comes, stating that he has given the wounded man painkillers. Kurapika then attacks him. The fake Leorio turns out to be another Kuriko in disguise and asks how Kurapika knew. Kurapika states that even if he was Leorio, he would have still hit him for leaving a wounded person alone. The Kuriko leaves, and Kurapika asks the woman who she really is. Meanwhile, Gon loses sight of the Kuriko momentarily, then it appears, and he follows it. He loses sight of it again, then the Kuriko jumps from a tree and corners Gon. Gon is about to be hit when he flatly says that the Kuriko is not the one he is pursuing. The Kuriko laughs hysterically and calls out its partner. The three applicants reunite, and the couple reveals themselves to be the offspring of the two Kurikos. They pass the three due to their unique characteristics and fly them to the exam site. Gon, Leorio, and Kurapika arrive at Zabin City, and Gon is fascinated by the bustling selling and trading businesses there. They stop where a high-rise building stands, the three thinking it's the exam site. The navigator leads them to a small restaurant beside it instead. The navigator orders something from the chef, who tells them to go to the back room. The order turns out to be the password to the back room, which is actually an elevator that goes 100 floors underground to the tunnel where applicants wait. When they reach the tunnel, they are given identification numbers by Beans. Later, they are befriended by Tompa, also known as the Rookie Crusher. He tells them about the other applicants. The most notable is Hisoka, who merely killed an examiner from last year's examination. An applicant bumps into Hisoka without apologizing, and Hisoka does something that makes the applicant's arms disappear. Tompa then offers the three juice with laxatives. Gon and Leorio quickly detect that there is something wrong with the juice, saying that they might be expired already. Another rookie applicant, Killua, approaches Tompa and asks for another can of juice. He drinks it, then tells Tompa that poison does not affect him. Sadats, the first examiner, introduces himself and tells the participants to follow him through the tunnel as part of the first exam phase. The applicants have run continuously for 2 hours, a distance of over 30 kilometers from where they came from. Leorio starts to get exhausted, and he becomes irritated when he sees an applicant using his skateboard. He sees it as a mockery of the Hunter exam, but Gon defends the applicant, saying that the examiner just told them to follow him without forbidding them to use whatever means. The applicant takes an interest in Gon and asks for Gon's age. Upon learning that they are of the same age, he jumps from and catches the skateboard with a maneuver, starts running alongside Gon, and introduces himself as Killua. Leorio, completely exhausted and covered in sweat, was on the verge of surrendering, and the rarity of rookies passing the exam was all the more affecting his enthusiasm. The urge to give up was approaching him until he looked at Gon, who had decided to wait till Leorio wills to move forward. Killua is waiting for Gon and tells him to forget Leorio and just continue, but Gon does not even move an inch, to Killua's incredulity. Leorio gains the motivation to catch up with the rest of the applicants and starts running even ahead of Gon and Killua. Sadat starts increasing his pace when they reach 80 kilometers, marked by a long, wide staircase. Leorio now catches up with Kurapika, who asks him if he is alright. Kurapika then asks Leorio if he really is after money, because he doesn't see Leorio as such a shallow person. Eliciting no answer, Kurapika shares to Leorio about the scarlet eyes of the Kurta clan as the reason for his clan's demise. Claimed as possessing one of the 7 most beautiful colors in the world and prized by people as rare, wealthy people, as well as thieves like the Phantom Troop, want to get their hands on the remaining pairs. Kurapika plans to become a blacklist hunter and be hired by wealthy families to get access to the black market, be able to collect his clan's eyes, and also avenge them from the Phantom Troop. Kurapika prods Leorio about his reason to be a hunter, but he says that he really is after the money. Leorio snaps back that his friend would not have died if he had money, then becomes embarrassed by the revelation and turns away. He wants to be a doctor to treat poor children for free, but realizes that he has to gain much more money to be able to study. Gon and Killua also share their reasons for taking the hunter exam. Killua joined for fun, thinking that the exam is challenging enough. Gon wants to be a hunter like his father. They agree to have a race to the exit, and the one to win will pay for dinner. They arrive at the exit ahead of Sadats. Gon proposes that since he and Killua won, they will treat each other to dinner. Other applicants come, and Sadats introduce them to the location as the Milsi Wetlands, also known as the Swindler's Swamp. He had just warned them about the creature's creative means to fool their victims when a man shows up and drives with him an unconscious ape with a face like Sadatsi's. He claims to be the examiner and accuses Sadats of being a masquerading man-faced ape. The applicants become confused, especially Leorio and Hanzo, a ninja. Hisoka then attacks the 2 examiners by throwing his blade-sharp cards. The man with the ape is killed and is eaten by scavenger birds. However, Sadats catches the cards with his bare hands, proving himself to be the real examiner, and warns Hisoka not to attack him again, lest he wants to be disqualified. He then tells the applicants to follow him into the swamp. As the applicants run through the Milsi Wetlands, Killua urges Gon for them to run ahead. Gon agrees so they can follow the examiner closely. Killua is more concerned with distancing themselves from Hisoka, for he senses his bloodlust, saying that he can smell it in the air. Gon then yells at Kurapika and Leorio that they should move up. Kurapika and Leorio witness many of the applicants ambushed by several of the creatures. Gon and Killua are captured by a large frog-in-waiting who stays underground and swallows anyone who steps on a piece of ground that sits upon its open mouth. The frog then spits them out after Killua spills inside the frog the spiked drinks Tompa gave them. Kurapika and Leorio have lost sight of the front-runners. They run into some applicants surrounding Hisoka, telling him to discontinue taking the exam for he is too dangerous to become one. Hisoka promptly finishes nearly all of them with a circular sweep of his card. He hurls killer cards onto the leader and turns his attention to Kurapika and Leorio. Meanwhile, Gon notices that the two are still nowhere near and leaves Killua to search for them. Kurapika and Leorio choose to escape by running in opposite directions. Leorio later turns back to face Hisoka, for he cannot stand to run away after witnessing such cruelty. Leorio attacks him, but Hisoka disappears in a whiff of smoke. Hisoka is about to reach Leorio when he is hit by Gon's fishing rod. As Hisoka walks towards Gon, Leorio tries to attack him, but is knocked unconscious with an uppercut. Gon defends himself while maintaining distance. He cannot attack Hisoka head-on, so he uses a trick to distract him. Unfortunately, it is Hisoka who surprises him by reaching him from the back. Hisoka holds him up by the neck and enjoys Gon's pained face. He lets go when Gon nearly passes out. Hisoka tells him not to fear, for he will not kill his friend, and cites that both Gon and Leorio are worthy of continuing the examination, and offers to bring the unconscious Leorio to the next examination site after receiving a call from somebody. Hisoka leaves, carrying Leorio on his shoulder, and Kurapika approaches Gon. Gon and Kurapika follow Leorio's scent to reach the next site. Gon admits to Kurapika that it is his first time to feel such fear, but it has made him also excited. Meanwhile, there are only 148 applicants left. Gon and Kurapika reach the gate to the next exam site and look for Leorio. Gon feels chills, then sees Hisoka pointing to Leorio sitting under a tree. Leorio is dazed and he cannot remember the encounter with Hisoka and how he got hit in the face. Gon and Kurapika opt not to tell him what really happened. Sadats bids goodbye and the gate opens to reveal a mansion with a sprawling garden that is set up for cooking. Menshi and Buhara introduce themselves as gourmet hunters and examiners. Menshi states the second phase involves cooking, making the applicants laugh and disparage both the examiner's profession and the test that's given. After they all fail to pass the test, Sadats contacts the committee about the situation. An airship hovers above the site as an elderly man jumps from it, landing on 2 feet, creating a crater. Menshi acknowledges him as Chairman Netero. The chairman proposes that Menshi thinks of another task and she has to show them how to do it. Menshi requests the chairman to bring them all to Split Mountain, where spider eagle eggs are located. The retest involves getting the so-called dream eggs dangling on webs at the ravine. Menshi even demonstrates how to procure the eggs by jumping onto the ravine and dangling on the webs, getting the eggs without falling and timing the jump so she would be carried up by an updraft. The applicants who are not fazed by the task jump to get the eggs. Some of the applicants fall to their deaths, failing to realize that they should have waited for the updraft. The other applicants rely on Gon's senses, who signals when to release their grips from the webs. They cook the eggs and find them delicious. Gon shares the egg to Tato, who also enjoys it. Only 42 applicants remain. The examinees and examiners board the airship and Chairman Netero is formally introduced to the examinees. Beans, the chairman's secretary, announces that the airship will arrive at the site of the third phase the next morning at 8 a.m. Gon and Killua eventually settle in to talk about their families. Gon wonders about Killua's parents and their occupation, to which Killua nonchalantly replies that they are probably alive and they are assassins. Gon is surprised and asks if both of them are assassins. Killua shares that he comes from a family of assassins and he's pressured to perform as the future heir of the family's business. He had to attack his mother and brother in order to leave their home and find his own future. He even says dreamily that he will capture his own family for a bounty when he becomes a hunter. Chairman Netero sees them and plays a trick by making them feel someone else is watching them from the other side of the corridor and then appearing from the opposite direction. The chairman then challenges them to a game that involves getting a ball from him, telling them that they will automatically become hunters if they succeed. Killua even uses an assassination attack, Rhythm Echo, to confuse him with afterimages. Killua also hits the old man's leg, but it is he who feels the pain. Gon also tries to catch the ball and even teams up with Killua. Gon and Killua are not able to get the ball from the chairman. Killua is secretly pissed off and decides to quit. Gon is adamant and vows to make the old man use his right arm. Killua then bumps into 2 of the examines along the corridor and they confront him for not apologizing. Killua kills them in an instant and mumbles that he might have killed the chairman in order to get the ball had he not left sooner. Meanwhile, Gon is able to make the chairman use his other arm to Netero's amusement. The airship lands on Trick Tower, a prison wherein long-term criminals are kept. Beans says that the aim of the third phase of the 287 Hunter exam is to safely arrive at the bottom of Trick Tower. One of the examines tries to climb down but is eaten by 6-legged flying beasts. Gon finds out that the way in is to flip one of the many large stone tiles. They all pick a tile and enter the tower. All of them end up in the same room. They see 5 watches in the room with 2 buttons on each of them. The prison warden Litbo says they need a 5th person to advance further into the tower. That is because the route they have chosen is majority rules, where they have to vote to do certain things in the tower when given 2 choices. The choice that gets the most votes wins. He is also seen telling the prisoners to go to their positions because the test is about to begin. 2 hours later, the final person joins their group and he turns out to be Tampa. A door appears. They have to vote whether to open it or not. Everybody votes to open it except Tampa. The team advances forward and find themselves in a large room with the platform in the middle. On the other side, there are 5 prisoners. Gon and the rest must beat at least 3 of them in a challenge to advance in the tower. Lippo explains that there can be no draws and that the prisoners get a year off their sentence for every hour they delay the examinees. The first prisoner is Bendat, who has been sentenced for 199 years for robbery and murder. Tampa volunteers to go first. Tampa immediately gives up and then informs the team that he doesn't want to become a hunter, but he only wants to screw people over. The next prisoner is Senecan, who has been sentenced for 149 years for serial bombings. Gon volunteers to face him. The end. The links for the next parts will be in description and pinned in the comment section. Be sure to like and subscribe for more awesome recaps.